What's your go-to joke when someone says tell me a joke? I went to a beekeeper to get 12 bees. He counted and gave me 13. Sir, you gave me an extra. That's a freebie. What do you call a French man wearing sandals? Philip. What did the French hen say when it got kicked in the stomach? Oh uff. I'm addicted to drinking brake fluid, but I can stop anytime. Used to be addicted to the hokey pokey, but I turned myself around. Have a friend that was addicted to soap, but he's clean now. I've got a buddy addicted to cold turkey. No hope. My version was I was addicted to Thanksgiving leftovers, but had to quit cold turkey. Yesterday I bought a pair of shoes from my drug dealer. I don't know what he laced them with, but I've been tripping all day. What's the difference between a good joke and a bad joke? Timing. What's the difference between a joke and a rhetorical question? There's two types of people. Those that can extrapolate from an incomplete dataset. There are 10 kinds of people in the world. Those that understand binary, and those that don't. There are 10 kinds of people in the world. Those that understand binary, those that don't, and those that didn't expect a joke in base 3. Why did the partially blind man fall down the well? He couldn't see that well. My friend keeps saying cheer up man. It could be worse. You could be stuck underground in a hole full of water. It doesn't help, but I know he means well. I was at the funeral of a friend of mine, and his wife asked me if I could say a quick word. I stood at the front of the church, cleared my throat, choked back the tears, and said, plethora. Thank you. His wife said as I sat back down. That means a lot. Apostrophe. I was at the funeral of a friend of mine, and his wife asked me if I could say a quick word. I stood at the front of the church, cleared my throat, choked back the tears, and said, bargain. Thank you. His wife said as I sat back down. That means a great deal. Apostrophe. I was at the funeral of a Spanish friend of mine, and his wife asked me if I could say a quick word. I stood at the front of the church, cleared my throat, choked back the tears, and said, El Mundo. Thank you. His wife said as I sat back down. That means the world to me. Apostrophe. This one's a little NSFW. A man goes to the doctor for a checkup. The doctor tells him, you need to stop masturbating. The man says, really? Why? The doctor says, because I'm trying to examine you. Apostrophe. I was thrilled to hear my doctor say I could have a stroke at any time. A doctor stands up suddenly in the middle of a meeting holding up a thermometer and says, some asshole has my pen. Drill sergeant. Private. I didn't see you at camouflage drills today. Private. Thank you, sir. Drill sergeant. Did you come here to die? Private. Nah, mate. Came here yesterday. Clean. What do you call an alligator wearing a vest? An investigator. Dirty. What's the difference between a garbanzo bean and a chickpea? I've never paid $300 to have a garbanzo bean in my mouth. What's the difference between Dubai and Abu Dhabi? People in Dubai don't like the Flintstones, but people in Abu Dhabi do. The Dalai Lama walks into a pizza shop and says, can you make me one with everything? Was told by an Australian news anchor to the actual Dalai Lama, and it's been my go-to ever since. The best part of that video is the Dalai Lama still doesn't get it and asks someone to explain it. And the reporter has to try, and it's embarrassing as hell, but the reporter doesn't even care, since he's too busy laughing. He's got a great sense of humor. I don't get it. I think I just got the joke. One with everything equals enlightened? Why does the Little Mermaid wear seashells? Because she's too big for bee shells. Underrated. I'm not sure if it is underrated, but it for sure is rated. A guy is sitting at a bar with a dog on a leash. The owner, disgruntled, walks up to him and accosts him for bringing an animal into his establishment. Sir, I have it clearly marked outside that no pets are to be brought into this building. I'm going to have to ask you to leave. The dog's owner defends himself. No, sir, you don't understand. This is no ordinary dog. He understands how to speak. I can demonstrate it to you. The owner of the bar is losing his patience, but allows him to continue. The man asks his dog, hey Sparky, how's life? The dog answers rough. What's on top of the house? Rough. Who's the greatest baseball player of all time? Rough. The bar owner is not impressed. He gets up, grabs the man by his shoulders, and launches him through the door, with him landing in a pile out in the street. The dog comes trotting up to him and says, "Yeah. So for that last one, do you think I should have said DiMaggio? That was a joke in an old Looney Tunes cartoon." A pirate walks into a bar. The bartender asks, "Is that a steering wheel in your pants?" The pirate responds, "Aye. It's driven me nuts." A pirate walks into bar and sits down. The bartender notices that he has a peg leg, a hook for a hand, and a patch over one eye. The pirate orders a beer, and while he's pouring it, the bartender asks, "So what's the story with the leg?" "Well, it were many a year ago," says the pirate. "I were walking on the deck of me ship and a rogue wave swept me overboard, and a shark swam up and bit me leg clean off. I swam ashore and were fitted fair a peg leg that very night." "That's terrible," says the bartender. "What about the hand?" "Well, it were the very next day," says the pirate. "I were walking on the deck of me ship and a rogue wave swept me overboard again, and a whale came up and bit me hand clean off. I swam ashore and were fitted fair a hook that very night." "Wow," says the bartender. "So what about the eye?" "Well, it were the very next day," says the pirate. "I were walking on the deck of me ship, and I were looking out fair of waves, and a seagull flew over and death right in me eye." "Oh man," says the bartender. "And that blinded you?" "Well, no," says the pirate. "But it were me first day with the hook." Arg, that made me cringe. Excellent work. An old man walks into confessional. "Father, yesterday I was at the senior center a little late, and I missed my home. So I was forced to walk. I was lucky though, as 2 local college girls in a convertible picked me up. Well, they must have been a little inebriated or something, because they started bragging about their sexual escapades, how many men they've had, how large they were, and so on. Then they started giggling, looked back at me, and before I knew it, we were back at their dorm room stripping naked. Father, it was amazing. Best sex I've ever had. I haven't been able to perform like that for 50 years. All 3 of us went all night, non-stop. I thought I was done for, but they even got a couple more out of me this morning." "I see," said the priest. "And how long has it been since your last confession?" Never. "Father, I'm Jewish. Then why are you telling me this?" With a rest-eating grin, the old man says, "I'm telling everybody." "Well, I'd tell you the one about Jonestown, but the punchline is too long. This one got a groan." A limbo dancer walks into a bar, gets disqualified. A baby seal walks into a club. What's worse than biting into an apple and finding a worm? Finding half a worm? I was gonna say, being raped by a giant scorpion, but I guess that's bad too. 2 scientists walk into a bar. The bartender says, "What can I get ya?" The first scientist says, "I'll have an H2O. The second scientist says, "I'll have an H2O, too." The second scientist died. 2 scientists walk into a bar. The first scientist says, "I'll have an H2O. The second one says, "I'll have a glass of water as well." The first one starts crying. "Damn it. You saw through my plans," he tells the second scientist. 2 atoms are hanging out. One says to the other, "I think I lost an electron." The other says, "Are you sure?" The first replies, "Of course. I'm positive." My pickup line version of this. "Have you got some electrons to spare? I'm positive I'm attracted to you." Has that pickup line ever actually worked? No. "Hey baby, I'm hella case cause I wanna run zip your jeans." Also no. Why'd I say I dive into your gene pool? When 3 people have sex, it's called a threesome. When 2 people have sex, it's called a twosome. Now I understand why they call you handsome. 2 peanuts were walking down the street. One was assaulted. As Dan Avedon has said, this works best if read or said in an old Jewish man voice. What's yellow and can't swim? A school bus. What's blue and can't swim? Don't know. What? A school bus in a denim jacket. What's a pirate say when he turns 80? A gem at edge. What state serves the smallest drinks? Minnesota. What did the drummer name his daughters? Anna 1, Anna 2. I went to the saddest wedding this past week. So sad that the cake was in tears. The drummer joke is the epitome of a dad joke. We all know where the Big Apple is. But do you know where the Minneapolis is? Ask me if the abominable snowman has called. Has the abominable snowman called? Not Yeti. Wouldn't that work better as not Yeti hasn't? I feel like a fool. Did you hear the one about the two gay Irishmen? Bend over and Pat McGroin. Patrick Fitzmitchell and Michael Fitzpatrick. Dumptis. So this guy goes to his doctor and says, "Doctor, you've got to help me. I'm having these awful silent farts. In fact, there's one right now." The doctor says, "Well, first of all, you're going deaf." No. You've got to tell it this way. A little old lady goes to the doctor and says, "Doctor, I have a terrible problem with gas. But it doesn't bother me much. My farts are always silent and never smell. I probably farted 15 times since I've been here. And you didn't realize it." The doctor says, "Interesting. Why don't you take these pills and come see me in a week?" The old lady returns in a week and says, "I don't know what the hell you gave me. My farts are still silent. But my god, they stink." The doctor says, "Excellent. Now that your sinuses are cleared, let's work on your hearing. That's much funnier." Slightly long dirty one. A man has a tree he loves in his backyard. But a monkey has climbed it and is refusing to leave. Feeling desperate, the man calls a monkey removal specialist. When the specialist arrives, he's carrying a shotgun, a pair of handcuffs, a stick, and a small dog. Obviously the man is curious, so he asks, "What is all of this for?" The specialist smiles and proudly responds, "It's a monkey removal technique that I developed myself. First I climb the tree and begin hitting the monkey with the stick. Once the monkey falls out of the tree, my dog is specially trained and will begin to attack the monkey's balls. The monkey will instinctively try to protect his balls with his hands, at which point I'll put the handcuffs on him and take him away." Okay, but what is the shotgun for? If I fall out of the tree first, shoot the dog. I recently bought a new toilet brush. Don't like it. I'm going back to paper. Two men walk into a bar. The third ducks. A baby seal walks into a club.